our pal Kevin Arnovitz. He has taken to ESPN.com to argue that the NBA would be a better and fairer place if prospects could, actually choose their employers instead of being conscripted by them. Arnovitz also argues that the supposed advantages for big markets and rookie free agency are overstated. So, Bo, I want to ask you this. What do you make of all this talk of draft abolition?
Oh, no, I'm an early adopter of this topic. I agree with Kevin that the idea that all the guys will go play for the big market teams flies out the window when you remember there are only 48 minutes in a game, only 5 guys can play at one time, and there are only 15 slots on a roster. They can't all go to the same place even if they want to. But the primary argument for keeping the draft as it is, where these guys don't get to decide where to go, they get picked, is that this is necessary for talent redistribution, that this is what has to happen in order for the worst teams in the league to get better. Do you know how many number one overall picks since the lottery have won championships with the teams that drafted them?
How many?
4. And here's who the 4 are. David Robinson, Tim Duncan, LeBron James, and Kyrie Irving. You realize that that's 2 pairs of teammates. They had to be on the same team with each other in order to pull this off. The draft doesn't do what people say that it is supposed to do. If you look at what's going on right now, the teams that are winning championships, look at the Warriors. That is a team largely built on players, 7 and later in the draft. That's before they got Kevin Durant. Obviously, that's a different case. Go look at the Raptors. Kawhi Leonard's their best player. He's the number 15 pick in the draft. People just hate this idea of getting rid of the draft, but I don't think it does what they think it does.
The other problem is that people just don't care about fairness. They don't. This whole idea that in every other industry, people with lots of talent and lots of leverage get to choose where they go, they don't care about that at all. And part of that is because millionaires, how dare they get even more? They have the best jobs in the world, and now they want to choose their own destiny. How dare they? But they also don't care about capitalism, because that's the way a free market is supposed to work when you have that much power. And so instead, Bomani, what does this become? It becomes an argument about, I want this TV show. And my argument to that is, the entertainment on the other side of this, if you do abolish the draft, is so much better.
Well, it's more than the TV show, right? I do think that there's that part, but there's another level, which is, this league has a lot of cities that people believe that black people don't want to live in. That's where this comes down to, because a lot of people then make that counter argument, well, how will a quote-unquote small market team be able to attract talent? Boston is a huge market. They have struggled to attract NBA players as free agents. Miami is a mid-sized market. They have done very well. This issue is not about the size of market. They think, don't nobody want to come play for our cold, quote-unquote, small market team. Utah, you remember that? After Gordon Hayward left Utah, and the radio dude, the guy that does their radio broadcast, did an interview on the radio, and he said the thing that bummed him out in Utah was, if we can't get a regular old American white dude to stick around here, who is going to want to stick here? And the answer is, pay them more money. But they've set this thing up with the max salary and everything else that does not allow that option to keep guys. So instead, they're always fearing, man, he's going to go to a cooler place, which is to say, why are you mad at them for wanting to go somewhere cool?
But also, you can incentivize them by yourself improving your own coolness. Be better. Figure out creative ways to become attractive to the young people of color that you describe. Because don't just subscribe to this idea that, they're all just going to go to L.A. or L.A. or New York or whatever. No. Be better. Get your medical staff better. Get your owner to be better. Get all this other stuff to attract young people to want to be the superstar in one of these cities, because that's still a zero-sum game.
Here's my question. Who are these people that have wanted to go to New York? There's so many of these huge markets that have not been able to attract somebody in this way. Like, what I think happens here is, the draft has been going on for so long that people cannot imagine a universe that doesn't have it. Because if you go on Twitter right now and say, we should get rid of the draft, I get bombarded by people even who ordinarily like me, just how stupid an idea it is. And I ask them, why is it stupid, right? So their whole thing is, well, we got to redistribute. Well, what if you did it this way? What if you allowed teams to have the same salary allotments that you would have for your first round pick? So if you got the worst record in the league, you win the lottery, whatever, you get the highest allotment that you can give to a player. Then let those guys decide if they want that money that it is that you have to offer. It would effectively accomplish the same thing in terms of redistribution, just with some element of choice involved.
And you can incentivize being better. Like, I have always defended the process, but it's only because it made sense within the rules of tanking. I would love it if you completely disentangled losing from being better. And what I would say is, for people who do miss the entertainment of the TV show, imagine a rose ceremony in which you get Zion Williamson in here and John Morant in here, and you have them pick the teams they want to go to. That's amazing television.
Let me tell you this about the process, though. The process points out one of the flaws with the draft. Because that was such an abomination, because that was so embarrassing, because that was such an affront to basketball that nobody wanted to be involved with it, teams wouldn't work out for those clowns, right? They're bucking back on the draft already is what they don't know.